In episode 2, Singh was able to bargain with Johnny to get his wife a change of scenery. Ronnie's now living in the attic of a house, quarantined from everybody else, and completely unaware that she is in what used to be a hybrid preserve. When Dr. Singh visits Ronnie, she can tell that he's in a good mood, and he says, yeah, I'm on to something big. Maybe a breakthrough on where the hybrids came from. There's this deer boy, and there's something about him. I think his father might have made him. They both then overhear on the radio that the two intruders have gone outside the wall. And Ronnie gets a little concerned, and the last man that's also in the room says, don't worry, it's just a nutjob that used to live here. And Ronnie had no idea that anybody used to live where she's currently at. But Dr. Singh can't tell her any more information because the florist has arrived with all the purple flowers that he's going to stack in the room where Ronnie used to be to hopefully get some answers from Gus. Now, the intruders were, in fact, Amy and Jep. When Jep woke up, he wanted to go get Gus back, and Amy convinced him we probably should do that together. Initially, she formulated a plan to sneak in at night through an underground tunnel that she figured the last men didn't know about. But that's when they got the radio call from Wendy, and plans immediately changed. When Amy heard Wendy's voice and what happened to Roy, she decides, you know what, no, I need to go get him now. So her and Jep were able to sneak in, posing as last men. Amy was pretty afraid. She almost gets caught. One of the last men asks to see her paperwork, but Jep comes to her rescue. And he doesn't have any paperwork either, but what he does have is the last man's symbol branded into his chest. Because many years ago, when Jep decided to start searching for his family, he was coming up empty with answers. He went to a last man rally, and he was surprised because the guy running the rally was his former football coach. He told his coach that he couldn't find his wife or his child, and that he was scared. And his coach implored him, well, then you need to join the last men. If they're out there, they'll find them. And this symbol, and then he showed off the same one that Jep has now, he told him that symbol would open a lot of doors. And years later, it turns out that Jep's old football coach was right, because it saves them from getting caught. But it doesn't save them from drawing a lot of suspicion. They're forced to take out one of the last men, but the alarms go off, and they both realize we got to get the hell out of here. We're going to get caught, and we can't save the kids if we're caught. So let's just get out of here safely, reconvene, and we'll figure out a plan. In order to let the kids know, though, that they were trying, that's why Jep put dog in the dog food. They sneak out using that tunnel, although when Johnny finds out, he closes it up. And Jep and Amy go to a parking garage where Tommy wants to leave the city, go get some muscle, and then come back. And Amy doesn't want to do any of that. She wants to ride it out in her office and try again. Tommy actually starts to walk away, but Amy says, well, the only way we're getting out of here is my truck. And Tommy unfortunately knows that's true. The problem is the truck is a piece of crap, and they need to start working on it if they are going to get out of there, with hopes of getting farther away from the preserve and thus farther away from the last men. But back at the preserve, the kids were excited when they got dog. But the excitement quickly goes away when Johnny, who is stressed out, comes back and grabs Gus because Dr. Singh wants to experiment using the flowers. Johnny gives Singh 10 minutes with Gus inside the flowers to get some answers. Singh tells Gus that the pollen in these flowers has a hallucinogenic effect on hybrids, so hopefully they'll be able to get some answers. They turn on fans so the pollen circulates to the room, and Gus starts to hallucinate. All the while, he's following the directions of Singh, who wants him to go back to when he was born. Initially, he's in the cabin, but when they don't get any answers from that, Singh tells him, go back farther. And even though Gus doesn't remember being in Fort Smith and being in the lab, somehow with the pollen and the flowers, he does remember some details. It takes a lot. I mean, he's got to strain to really remember it. But he's able to see a woman making a speech. He's able to see an incubator, and then he's finally able to see Fort Smith. He also sees something called Project Midnight Sun and a bunch of scientists. So this will at least give Singh direction on where he can go to possibly get some answers. But then the nightmare gets pretty dark, and Singh has to run in there and kind of get him out of the pollen. When Singh has a little bit of time to collect his thoughts, he says aloud, the theories are true. Fort Smith created the virus. And they created you, Gus. Thank you, Gus. You just gave me hope. All this time spent in the flowers, though, is giving Gus an idea. So when he returns to the hybrids, he tells them, I know where we can go that's safe when we escape this place. It's my old home, Yellowstone. He starts to describe it, but then he realizes that describing it won't do it justice. Gus was able to snag some crayons when he was leaving the room with the purple flowers, so he starts to draw what Yellowstone looked like. And all the kids are pretty excited at the thought of living there after Gus talks about it. But in order to escape, they're going to need Jep and Amy, who finally get the truck running, but they don't have a lot of time because a drone finds them, which was something Jep was not expecting. They start trying to get out of there and evade the drone, but it's becoming difficult. And finally, Tommy hits it out of the air using a slingshot and a soup can. Once they get to a safe enough location far away from the preserve, Amy stops the car because she gets pretty emotional at the thought of leaving her kids behind. Jeb tries to make her feel better by saying, "We are going to get those kids back. We're going to need some muscle, and I do know some guys, but they're former last men like me, although these ones you can trust." Amy asks Jep, "What did you do for the last men anyway?" And he says, "I didn't take kids, but it was nothing good, I'll tell you that." They then continue on their drive to hopefully find some muscle that can help them get the kids back. But while all of this madness was going on, Ronnie was stuck in quarantine. Albeit a nicer quarantine than she used to have, but still, quarantine nonetheless. While she was in her new digs, she started kind of poking around, and she found a picture that Wendy drew of a woman with a little girl who's half pig, half human. And it said, "To Mom, love Wendy." Now, when Singh mentioned that there was something special about this deer boy, Ronnie initially just thought it was lack of sleep. But after seeing this, she's starting to think differently. So when Johnny comes in with food, she starts to befriend him a little bit to find out more information on where they actually are. And he tells her that they're in a former hybrid sanctuary. And the rumor is one of those hybrids can talk. Ronnie asks him to go see the hybrids, and Johnny doesn't want to get in trouble, so it's going to take a lot more convincing from Ronnie. And finally, an update on Bear. After leaving Judy's house, she was able to find the jacket of Jep, but no Jep. She continued to walk down the road when she came across a caravan. She hid from it, waiting till it passed so she could jump in the back and hopefully steal some goods. She started snooping around, though, and she saw a woman looking at all of these old pictures. And before the woman could see her or talk to her, she gets grabbed by a guy. His name is Jordan, and he's traveling in this caravan with his grandparents. He tells her that he can't risk anyone getting his grandparents sick. And she says, "Yeah, that's fine. I'm just looking for a ride. I'm trying to find my friends." So he invites her to come with them. Thank you so much for checking out this recap. Please consider subscribing to the channel and subscribing to my Patreon. Hit thumbs up if you liked it. Smash that thumbs down button if you thought it sucked. If you left a comment, I don't get back to you. I usually don't check the comments unless they're like a super comment. Also, if you don't see the next video up on the end screen, not to worry, it'll be up in a day or two.